Now that we know how to open and run SolidWorks, let's take a look at help. It's important whenever you're learning a new piece of software or just getting acquainted with a new version of software that you understand the help menu and how to get help with your projects. Now, an expert user doesn't necessarily know every functionality in the software, but they know how to get help and make use of the resources available. So the first thing I like to do is walk users through how to get help inside of SolidWorks, because there are many different ways that we can do that. The first of which is from the Help drop-down menu. Now, when you look inside here, anytime you see an icon next to something inside SolidWorks, that icon will be used throughout the software, and it'll make it easy to understand when you can get help. For instance, whenever you see the question mark, you can click it and you know that you're getting help with whatever problem you have. In this case, you'll notice that we have SolidWorks Help, Tutorials, API Help Topics, and then there's a search option. Now, inside of search, we have several different things that we can do. We can search SolidWorks Help, commands, files and models, and so on. Now, as we go down the line, you notice that there's Use SolidWorks Web Help. Now, I typically like to keep this turned off. All of the SolidWorks Help topics can be found online through the SolidWorks website. And if you select this, go back to the Help menu, you notice that there's now a check mark next to it. When you have this selected, by default, it tries to use Web Help. And Web Help is great, except for it automatically pipes into the SolidWorks forums and any available questions that have been asked on that topic. Now, while I think the forums are a very great resource, I don't like that to be the first place it goes whenever I'm looking for help. So I typically turn that off and make sure that I'm looking directly in the help file loaded on my machine. So we can get into the help file from here, but there are also several other ways that we can get to it. You notice that up to the right-hand side of our screen, we have a question mark here. Now we can click on this, and this will open the help file, but it also has a drop-down next to it. You notice that this drop-down has the exact same thing that we saw over on the Help drop-down menu. So it goes all the way down to Use SolidWorks Web Help, and then there's information about your product and licenses and so on. So again, another location for you to get access to this same information. But there are plenty more ways that we can get access to help. To the left of this, you'll notice that there is a Search Knowledge Base area, as well as a magnifying glass and a drop-down. Now, by default, when you install SolidWorks, you'll notice that this automatically wants to search the knowledge base. Now, the knowledge base, again, is a web help resource. What I like to do is use this drop-down and decide what I want it to search. So typically, I'll turn off community forums, blogs. I'll turn off a lot of this other information, YouTube, Twitter, as well as the knowledge base. And by default, I want to search commands. So when we search commands, that'll give me great access to information about commands I'm trying to do or figure out. Now, the quick way to get access to this is to hit the S key. Now, the S key is the shortcut key inside of SolidWorks, but you'll notice that it also automatically puts a cursor up in that command line. So at this point, let's say that I wanted to extrude this sketch that I've created. If I start to type in extrude, you notice that as soon as I hit E and the X, it brings up all the available commands. We have exit isolate, exit expand collapse, and as we go down the line, you notice that we get to extruded boss base. So again, this is a great way for us to get access to different things. Let's say that we wanted to search for something else, like fillet. As I start to type in FI, you notice it brings up file properties, files and models, and as I keep going down the line, I can get down to the command I was looking for. So you can see fillet is here and it's grayed out. It allowed me to search for it, but it's grayed out because I don't have any solid bodies in this case. So let's take a look at another way that we get help. I'm going to select the sketch and I'm going to do an extrude. And inside of the feature, it pops up in my trio to the left-hand side, which we'll talk about again in a little bit when we get started actually creating geometry. But the main thing I want to point out here is that we have that question mark icon. And you'll notice that the tooltip that shows up says help. If I select help, again, it brings up the help, but it also goes directly to that specific topic, in this case, extrude.